Mitch Hedberg.
All right. And if you're just joining us, thank you so much. This is Chris with CannaBalanceLife Podcast, and we got Richard Hengst on the call from Canna CBD down in Texas. Richard, say what's up.
What's going on, everyone?
Okay, coming in loud and clear. Forgot your cowboy hat, but we're getting it started, and I appreciate you taking the time. We're out live in Chicago. Just a couple things real quick. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast, which is at the bottom, CannaBalanceCBD.com/subscribe. Oh, can I point to it? There we go. And we're actually doing a contest this week for everyone that subscribes. Will be entered in a contest to win a free 500 milligram bottle of Richard's Canna CBD, which is a great promo, especially if you're considering using CBD for the first time, but might not want to pay for it the first time. We can help you out, so make sure to subscribe. Richard, thank you so much for being on the podcast tonight. And I know we tried to do this on Thursday, and you were having some Wi-Fi issues in the sticks. So thank you so much. Yes. I think the horses came in to roost, and now your Wi-Fi is, maybe your Wi-Fi is horsepower down there or something, so you got them kicking. But thanks for being on. We appreciate your knowledge, of course. You know, CannaBalance is super close with you guys, and appreciate all the knowledge that you share in terms of cannabis. We had Richard actually on the call last month, and we had a lot of people that were interested in what he had to say and had some more questions and wanted to kind of hear from you again. So thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. So first question is actually about pet CBD. I know we talked a little bit about this last time, but you know, just kind of wanted to dive more into that. So, of course, Richard is a CBD guru, if you will. Spent some time in Israel with, you know, some chemists over there, which is considered, you know, top cannabis research in the world, arguably. And spent some time over there. Has been in the industry for over 10 years. Richard, that's right?
Around 10 years hands-on.
Okay, cool. And
15 years if it's the research.
Sure. And what, after Israel you were doing, you could maybe just talk a little bit about, I guess, what you've done.
That's whenever we got into the whole actual hands-on with CBD. And honestly, it's just with the hybrid hemp. So, you know, beforehand, there was no CBD hemp, you know. CBD was just a cannabinoid within it, and we have kind of created these hybrids to produce low THC, so huge market's been brought out of it.
Great. Awesome. So just diving into that, you know, obviously you have a lot of experience with CBD, and I guess good CBD would more be the question, right? I mean, I think a lot of our listeners and members, they know what CBD is, they know they want it, but you know, kind of advanced education is, you know, what is good CBD, and that's kind of what we're diving into with the pet CBD, because I know you've told me a couple times that these products out there are not so good. What can you tell us about that, and you know, what people should be looking for? Like, obviously they want to buy Fido, you know, some edibles or something. What are your thoughts on that?
The best thing to look at, and I'm not going to put anyone down, but if you look at brands that are huge brands to where they're sourcing from, you know, 5-6 different large farms, usually I would stay away from their products simply because their method of harvesting. And actually, since we talked last, they just put out a new, it was an article I read talking about what I was saying, how they buck the plant. And bucking is when you remove the flower from the stalk. For example, at our farms, everything is done by hand. The first piece of machinery that sees our plants, and actually it's only the flower, is the extraction machine. The flowers are trimmed and pulled off the plant, everything by hand. We hand buck everything. A lot of people that when your farm gets too big, they claim it costs too much to pay people to hand do everything, but really they just want to profit more per acre.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's kind of a dumb thing, because in reality, what the study basically showed was exactly what I've been saying when I say you lose value in your crop. So if you take an acre of hemp and you buck it by hand, you're going to have at least like 35% more cannabinoids than if it's being harvested by combines and going through automatic buckers where it basically shreds the stem, leaves, and flower up all together. So when you do your extraction, it's a diluted one because your leaves and your stalk does not contain any cannabinoids. So they devalue. The example that I used to use is, cancer patients who are using cannabis. When they're making the high THC cannabis oil, they're not buying a whole plant stalk and everything and making their oil out of it. They are removing by hand the flowers. They are carefully doing it not to drop off your trichomes. You want it to be all your medicine is in the flower, so you want to handle it delicately until you do your extraction, so you have the most amount of cannabinoids present.
Right on.
So I would say look for brands who have been doing this, but not just been doing it. Look for ones that own their farms. For one, they don't have to. There's a lot of great farms that are small and source out their oil. However, I believe that if you have stake in your farm, then you have stake in its success. So
it more has something to do with the farm and how it's grown, not just these companies out there that are somehow making a crap product. It's more of where it comes from.
And a lot of people, they grind up the whole entire plant gets ground up, and then it just goes through a conveyor belt.
But you want the flour. You don't want the.
They'll try to sift out the stalk. I mean, the pieces of stalk and stuff. They'll try to sift it out, but a big portion of it still ends up in the extraction machine, which then you're basically just have a diluted run that you're doing.
Sure.
So, the study proved you're losing like 35% cannabinoids whenever you harvest it by machine.
So if you love Fido, don't feed him stems or seeds. It's very simple, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we talked about pet CBD, and while we're on the subject, what can people do to spot fake oils or CBD that they shouldn't be buying? You know what I'm saying?
Don't buy them from a gas station. Don't buy gas station CBD.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Right.
And again, do research on your brand. Look at some of their actual reviews, and you can tell a paid for user review versus like we've had some, and you've gotten them selling our product. You've gotten customers that send you this long story about how it's changed their life. You can tell when it's a real short worded, you can tell. So look at your brands, look at your reviews. If they all look the same, something's up. Sure. A lot of it's just marketing and sales tactics, honestly. So look for a good reputable brand and do your research on them first, but make sure they also don't have any additives in most of their stuff. And the one thing people need to look for is make sure that they haven't ever been found guilty of falsifying COAs.
Okay.
Or having like gummies. Gummies are huge that you got to watch out for. There's a lot of fraudulent gummies out there, and there's a lot of them that when tested didn't even contain any cannabinoids. Someone just like rebagged Haribo gummy bears or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely.
We definitely hear the horror stories too. CannaBalance CBD. We carry King Canna, and obviously a lot of people enjoy it, especially compared to some other products out there. We're just kind of trying to give everybody an edge, I guess. So.
Additives affect everything too, man. Especially flavors. We may end up putting out some flavors, but if we do, it's only gonna be a flavor that is done out of like an essential oil or something. It will not be, it's not gonna be some strong raspberry flavor that like a candy or something. Sure. It's gonna be subtle and natural. But a lot of people are adding additives. They're adding.
People need to remember too. It's about your health too, right? You're not just taking it. If you want to drink a soda, then just drink a soda, right? Before we talk about CBD and COVID-19 and whatever's going on, that we're not here to say that this is a cure. So the FDA doesn't need to be all up in my shiznaz.
Yeah.
But which can happen. All of a sudden, the podcast is gone next week. No. So we're joking, but we're crying inside. I know you and I talked about this, but what are the? I mean, you see the articles. I mean, we can't not talk about it. You know what I'm saying? People are always saying either they're having success with it or it might, maybe help or prevent. Maybe that's the wording that you want to say. It's not a cure, but maybe it can.
There's many reasons to support the whole theory of cannabis helping COVID. For one, Israel just put out a study basically stating that they believe it blocks COVID from basically binding to our cells. It basically blocks it from entering the body. Now, again, that's from a recent study. I haven't dug too deep into it, so I don't even know
exactly. You got to send me the
what
link because now we're screwed. We got to put the link in the comments. People are going to check it, so make sure you send me that. Otherwise, we are screwed. But yeah, I mean, people just say it's like balance, right? It's just from what
and the things they're telling you. Okay, there's things I don't agree with. They're telling people to stay inside. You don't stay inside. That's not how you strengthen your immune system. The reason why we get immune systems as kids is because we're out playing in the goddamn dirt. You know what I mean? Like, we're out in the environment. You have to be in the environment to build up your immunity. Vitamin C.
So we're back with Richard from Canna CBD on CannaBalanceLife Podcast. You can subscribe to our podcast at CannaBalanceCBD.com/subscribe. Enter to win our contest. We are giving away a free 500 milligram bottle of Canna CBD for anybody that enters the podcast sweepstakes or at subscribe in the next week. And don't worry, if you subscribe, you're entered to win automatically. Richard, we're talking about the extraction process of CBD and basically just advanced CBD education for the people that like to listen to our podcast, because we talk a lot of things, but we love to talk about CBD. Tell us about the extraction process, because I know a lot of people have no idea what that is.
Yeah. So extracting, it's basically the removal of the cannabinoids from the plant. Your cannabinoids is, CBD, CBG, so on and so forth. If you know anything about essential oils, you'll know that, some of them are cold pressed, and those are extraction methods. So with cannabis, what we do primarily, a lot of people at home can do it with butane in a blast tube, which can be safe, but can be extremely dangerous as well, especially when you don't know the fundamentals.
Do the butane.
Yeah, don't try to do it at home. I mean,
about
if you're in a legal state and you can do home extractions, and you just look into it before you try it. You do it outside.
Canna does it with ventilation. You do not have to do butane extractions at home. Okay, tell us about. But I really like that Canna is CO2 extracted, right? Because it's super smooth. And how I've heard of ethanol extractions and other extractions. What's the difference between those? Like, why would it matter?
So you can extract using a solvent like the ethanol. That is corn. Your polarized
using corn.
It's your substance that goes through the plant material and pulls out the cannabinoids. Sure. Or you can use what we do. It's supercritical CO2. So it uses pressure and CO2, which is a solventless way of extracting.
Probably the most healthy. Agreed.
The reason why most people prefer that is you're not using a solvent. I mean, if you're using a solvent and it's passing through your material, there can be, if not done the right way or if not processed long enough, can still be residuals of that gas that you ran through your material. So in
essence, you're drinking corn with your CBD.
Solventless is better. I mean, you can get the oil out of the plant by pressing it on an iron, basically a hot iron, and with a hydraulic press, and you basically compress the plant down, and the oil will come out of it with a little bit of heat. So there's multiple ways of getting it out without solvent, but for CO2, I mean, for CBD in this industry and anywhere you're going to be buying a product, it's all going to most likely be CO2 extracted.
Yeah, nice. Okay, cool, man. Well, I think we covered everything that we wanted to and more. So thanks so much for being on, Richard, and we talked about a lot of great things. You're the man. Appreciate your time always, and have a good night, everyone.